Hello vinyl community,
Hello.
Alex back again with another video. I am probably the last person in the vinyl community to get around to doing this video. But I mean, half my collection is still at my parents' house from when me and Jenny moved in November. So yeah, I've been putting this video off. I thought to myself, I can't put this off long enough or anymore. So I'm just going to get around to doing it. As you can tell from the title, it is the vinyl tag for 2023. This is normally my first video of the year that I do on this channel. It's sort of been a tradition. I had to break tradition this year because in January, when I wanted to do this, I didn't have any of my records here at the house.
Literally none of them.
So I could not film the video. Now I've got a few more. I've had to make do with what I've got here at the house. So there's going to be a lot of newer sort of stuff in this tag, but so hopefully you guys can bear with me on that. But for now, I'm going to get on with this video because I've been wanting to do this vinyl tag all year round, and finally now sitting down to do it now that we are in the last week nearly of May. So yeah, let's get into this. So for those of you who don't know what the vinyl tag is, it's a video every year that comes out. Someone starts a trend, 20 questions, and everyone can jump in on it. And it's usually a good way to start off in the vinyl community if you're struggling with ideas on where to start. This vinyl tag this year was started by Rob Walker. He also did the 2022 vinyl tag. I think there's been a few tags going around, but honestly, this is the one I'm doing because this is the one I've seen the most. So yeah, let's crack on because we've got 20 questions to do and I've got a lot of vinyl here to show you. So with that said,
We'll wake up at any second.
yeah, and a child, 2-year-old who is down for a nap and could wake up at any second. So yeah, let's get on with this. Question 1, your favourite new album of 2022. This one for me was a no-brainer. It's Robert Glasper's Black Radio 3 jazz album. This came out quite early in 2022. I think it was like March or April time-ish. And there is not an album from 2022 that clicked with me anywhere near as much as this one did. And because it was an early release, I kept thinking to myself, something is gonna probably beat this album, but nothing did. Honestly, this album, jazz, hip hop, R&B, fusion, just love this album to death. And yeah, listened to it quite a bit. Very, very solid album, good release from Robert Glasper. And I actually also rediscovered him through that album because I listened to him quite a bit in like 2020, 2021. Forgot all about him and then rediscovered him with his new album. So there's that. Question 2, the last band or artist you saw live. Well, actually, for me, it was a gig I went to in 2022. That's the Shires. Now, I saw them, I think it was for my birthday in 2022. My mum bought me a ticket to see them because they were performing in my town. And my town doesn't really get a lot of like gigs around here anymore, at least not bands that are well known.
It's a birthday present, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll get local band, like around here we get local bands and like tribute acts, but we never really get bands like these guys. The Shires, UK based country band, who formed actually over Facebook. So that was an interesting story that they told when I saw them live, because I didn't actually know that. Yeah, interesting stuff here. Not my favourite album by them, but it's still a very, very solid one. Yeah. There it is, the Shires. Good Years. They did also have an album out in 2022, but this is their 2020 album. I do want more of their stuff on vinyl. That is the only one I have a physical copy of. So yeah. Question 3, their first album was their best. Again, there was a couple of bands or artists I could have gone with here. The one that I thought of off the top of my head, I didn't have the album here with me at the house. I think it's at my mum and dad's probably. So I couldn't go with that one. But instead I've gone with the Kooks, Inside In, Inside Out. I know this question is going to be very opinionated and stuff, but for me, the Kooks' best album is their first album. They've still had good albums after this, but obviously with tracks like She Moves in Her Own Way, Naive, Matchbox, Jackie Big Tits, Ooh La, you know, just a really solid album from start to finish. And I know this album hit its 15th anniversary, I think. Yeah. It's 15th anniversary in 2021. But honestly, for me, when it comes to the Kooks, I always suggest the first album to listen to first. Although, yes, they do have good albums after this, their first album is their best. An album you own 3 times. So, on 3 different formats. Whether it be vinyl, CD, cassette, or whatever. Now, I'm only going to show the CD for this one because I don't know where my vinyl copy is. I thought I had it here at the house, but I was looking for it for ages before filming this video. Couldn't find it. So I'm guessing it's still at my mum and dad's. But it is the Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem. Which I own 3 times.
Why didn't I know that?
I own it on vinyl, I own it on CD, and I own it on digital as well. From back in the days when I was like buying albums to just download onto my computer before, you know, properly getting into CDs and then getting into vinyl. The only reason that I've kept this CD, although I tend to get rid of CDs when I have the vinyl, the only reason I kept this one is because it has a bonus disc with instrumentals and music videos and songs that didn't actually make the album. So there's that. I would love the 20th anniversary edition of this one on vinyl because there's also more tracks on that. But for now, I'm just going to cope with the CD. So yeah, Eminem's The Marshall Mathers LP. I think the only album I own 3 times. An album that starts and ends with the same letter. This one was a bit more tricky. As you can probably tell, there's probably not a lot of albums out there that start with this and end with the same letter. But I managed to find one in my collection of the ones I've got with me. And that's Reanimator by Everything Everything. UK-based indie rock band, formed at Manchester University. 2 of the members I think are from Manchester, 2 are from Kent, here in England. So very, very good, yeah. I couldn't find any other ones off the top of my head that started and ended with the same letter. So this is literally the first one I found was what I was going to go with, and it was this. So as you can see, it starts with R and ends with R. So I thought, yeah, that'll do. An artist born the same year as you. Now this one was tricky because obviously I listen to a lot of music that is
Older than you?
Older than me. I didn't want to say that, but it is older than me. So it was a bit trickier, but I managed to find something in the collection for this one, and it is Sidney Siriota, the lead singer of Echo Smith, was born in 1997, same year as me. I think this is probably the only thing in my collection because I've either got artists younger or artists that are like way older. So, moving on, most listened to album in 2022. This one was a lot more difficult because I listened to a few albums in 2022, but not too many albums like on repeat. Does that make sense?
I will take my blood off.
There goes Jenny. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
most.
did you see me? Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, most listened to album 20. I couldn't think of one album specifically I'd listened to a lot or the most, so I just picked an album I know I listened to a lot, and that is Stars by Simply Red. Also purchased in 2022. My favourite Simply Red album, with songs like Something Got Me Started, Stars, She's Got It Bad. Just a really good album by Simply Red. I'd love more of their stuff on vinyl. I think I've got the first 4. Unless I'm missing Men and Women, I don't know if I am or not, but still, great album there. Now, most listened to artist in 2022. Leading on from that, this is question 8. For me, this has been normally it is this guy. This guy normally is my most listened to artist each year, but after going through my Spotify Wrapped for 2022 back in January, it told me that 1975 was my most listened to artist of the year, which, I mean, doesn't surprise me considering they've quickly become one of my favourite bands. Like, honestly, few years ago, I couldn't stand their music, honestly. And then I think about 2018, 2019 is when I started really getting into their music. And 2020 saw them live, and they've been one of my favourite bands ever since. So, yeah, of course I'm gonna listen to their music a lot. Just never expected them to be my most listened to artist of 2022. But yeah, I went with this album as well because it tends to be the album I come back to the most. Yeah, 1975. My most listened to artist in 2022. An Australian band or artist. Another one I was there for a while because there were a few choices I could have gone with. I didn't want to go with the obvious AC/DC because I thought a lot of people would be showing them. I nearly picked a Tame Impala album to show you, but I've picked an album I've shown a few times on the channel. And again, I really only own this one album by them. They do have a second album out, but it is really hard to track down. I think because it only came out in Australia, so getting it's going to be really difficult. But this is Revival by Vancouver Sleep Clinic. Despite the name, they are not from Vancouver, they are from Australia. And they are the only band that I've seen twice. So, yeah. Met them both times when I was at the gigs. Very, very nice guys. Love this album to pieces. Very calm, very chilled, very laid back. Awesome stuff. Question number 10. Halfway there already. Surprising purchase of 2022. For me, there's only really one answer I could have gone with. And that is Van Morrison, Hard Nosed the Highway. Yeah, this album has some cover damage and it's not in the best shape, but I found a new Van Morrison album that I love, so maybe my favourite Van Morrison album. I think Astral Weeks is still up there as my favourite, but this one is definitely close second. I bought this on a whim as a blind buy, and I was thinking to myself, if I don't like it, I can always sell it on. I was never going to sell this album on, I love it way too much. So yeah, there is Van Morrison's Hard Nosed the Highway. That is my most surprising purchase of 2022. Question 11, an artist or band you're complete on? For me, it's a difficult thing really, because I don't think you're ever fully complete on an artist unless you've got like all their singles, B-sides, compilations and stuff. But studio album wise, I'm complete on Arctic Monkeys. Did anyone really who didn't see that coming? I wanna show of hands who didn't see that one coming. There's only really a couple of bands I'm complete on.
You want a show of hands on a video you can't actually see anyone else on.
Ignore her. Anyway, there's only really a couple of bands or artists where I'd be complete on them. The other one I've already talked about, so I wasn't going to talk about them again. But yeah, I'm gonna show you all the Arctic Monkey stuff I have here. I haven't got all their singles, nowhere near. I think there's a couple of bootlegs I'm missing, but as far as it goes, all their studio albums, I have them. So here's whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. Favorite Worst Nightmare. Humbug. My personal favorite one here, Suck It and See. AM. Couple of bootlegs, Feeling Far Away, the Live in Australia concert. And then Arctic Monkeys Unplugged, which is just a collection of acoustic sets they've done on radio shows. Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino I have the only official live album they've ever put out, which is Royal Albert Hall. And then their latest album, The Car. Yeah. I always support Arctic Monkeys. I probably would, anything they put out, I'm probably going to get it, even if I don't end up liking it later on. But they're a band I'm always going to support anyway. They are my favourite band, and yeah, I have everything. I don't own all their singles, I wish I could. Some of their singles are really expensive, so I don't think I'm going to own them anytime soon, but man can always dream, right? Question 12. A great run of 3 albums. So 3 albums by one artist that came out consecutively, like in a row, that are really good. Now again, I can only show 2 for this because I don't know where the third one went, but I'm going with Kendrick Lamar's first 3 studio albums. Section 80, I would have To Pimp a Butterfly, but I couldn't find it. And I would have Good Kid, Mad City, but I couldn't find it. And then I have To Pimp a Butterfly, which is still my favourite Kendrick Lamar album to date. I think he had such a good run with these 3 albums. And his first 3 studio albums, each one just gets a little bit better up until this one. And I think with Damn, he did let himself go a bit. It's still a good album for what Kendrick can put out, but honestly, I wasn't a massive fan. And when it comes down to it, I really love, like, the first 3 albums are the ones I will always come back to. This is a 10 out of 10 album for me, To Pimp a Butterfly. But yeah, I went with Kendrick, my favourite modern rapper. One of the only modern rappers I think I still listen to, like, religiously, out of the ones that I have in my collection. But yeah, there it is. Question number 13. An 80s soundtrack. I went through my collection because I love 80s films. I tried to find one that I didn't think anyone would show, but honestly I didn't have any of the obscure ones I thought I had in my collection. It turns out they're just on my wants list. So I ended up going with my favourite film of all time, which happens to be an 80s film, and that's Back to the Future. Yeah, I did. Yeah, Back to the Future is my favourite film of all time. So I ended up showing the soundtrack for this one. We've obviously got tracks on here by Lindsey Buckingham. You've got songs by Huey Lewis and the News, Marvin Berry and the Starlighters, and even Marty McFly's version of Johnny B. Good is on here as well. So there we go. I love how they say on the album as well, it's performed by Marty McFly, even though it was Michael J. Fox was the actor who played him in the film.
Yeah, we're saying that so that you know who they're talking about.
Yeah, I know. Question number 14. We lost them in 2022. So someone who died in 2022.
Oh no, that's sad.
So no, don't worry. I know we've not lost Elton John. I know. I'm showing this because we lost the producer of this album, Thom Bell. He did a lot of work with the Philadelphia record label, which is my favourite record label, but he also did this album with Elton John. which honestly is one of my favourite Elton albums. It's got the song "Are You Ready for Love" on it, which I think a lot of people know. This is obviously the Record Store Day version of the album. But honestly, it was a lot. There were few artists we lost in 2022. I didn't have vinyl editions of any of the others, so this was the one I had to go with. Thom Bell. Yeah, this is the only thing I really have with that shows his name on it, not properly. So there it is. Most disappointing purchase of 2022. For me, this one's not really that disappointing. It's just the fact I bought it on a whim because I know I really like the artist, and I didn't like the album as much as I thought I was going to going in. It's still a very solid album by this artist, but it's not my favourite. It's Worldwide Underground by Erykah Badu, the 2022 reissue. The album sounds phenomenal. The pressing sounds great. I just didn't like the album as much as her other stuff, shall we say. But still decent. I think I need to go back and revisit this one, honestly. But on first initial listen, all the way through, wasn't my favourite. Question 16, a non-vinyl purchase. This one was a bit out there because non-vinyl purchase, what, you want me to show some clothes or some groceries or what? But I assumed it was music related, non-vinyl purchase. So with me getting into reading quite a bit in 2022, I ended up buying a few autobiographies, and I think this one's appropriate to show considering the week that I'm filming this, we sadly lost this artist.
I already know who you're talking about.
This is Tina Turner, her autobiography, My Love Story. I will be reading this at some point, I don't know when, but it's very interesting to know about her story and stuff. Yeah, we lost the Queen of Rock and Roll on, I think, Wednesday it was, this week that I'm filming this, and yeah, this is her autobiography, My Love Story. So yeah, this is a non-vinyl purchase from this year. I don't think I actually bought that many autobiographies, but I bought this one because I wanted to read this one, and I'm finally going to at some point over the next couple of weeks or so. Question 17, you found a grail. There's quite a few grails that I have, honestly, but this one, maybe the biggest one I wanted to find this year, and that's Cold Fact by Rodriguez. This is a South African pressing. It's not a first South African pressing, unfortunately. It's sort of a mid-70s one, but yeah, very good stuff here by Rodriguez. Cold Fact. Yeah, this one's sort of been surfacing up around the last couple of years. It even got a reissue in recent years, and that reissue has now gone up in price, I've noticed. So very absolutely wanted a copy of this, even if I just got the reissue, but luckily I was able to track down this. It's on Sussex Records, and yeah, just phenomenal stuff. Question 18, a space themed album, sleeve or song. And going through, there was only really one thing that I could find that had a space theme to it, and that's Rainbow's Down to Earth album. I really like the cover on this. I love like space and things. My missus will tell you how much I really like space and things, won't you?
Yeah. What? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
I was saying that I'm really into space and,
Oh, yeah.
and stuff like that.
There's an astronomer over there. Is that
Yeah,
what it's called?
astronomer. Yeah. But yeah, this album, one of the only ones I could find with a sort of space theme to it, out of the ones I still have here at the house. Neighbours' dogs. Yeah.
Sorry, we've got our doors open.
You know, we've got all the doors open. It's a nice hot sunny day outside. But yeah, Down to Earth by Rainbow. Space theme, because you can see the Earth, you can see the stars there. Obviously the name of the album, Down to Earth, is in a rainbow. So there's that. Show some VCLT or a present. I didn't get any VCLT in 2022. I got some in 2021, but not in 2022. So I decided to go with an album that my wife bought me. It wasn't a birthday present or anything. I think we were just at the record shop and I picked this album out that I wanted, and she was like, yeah, I'll buy it for you.
Oh, that's nice.
That counts as a present, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And
It's very nice of her.
it is very nice of her. I didn't ask her to do that, she just offered. But this is The Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me.
Probably did it just so I complain that you got too much.
My second favourite Cure, or maybe a strong contender for my favourite Cure album. Let's say that. But me and Brandon over at Mr. Hall of Fame will talk about the song Just Like Heaven off of this album, which is probably one of the best pop songs ever written. But I do really like this album. It's got the track Hot 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 as well. There's another one on here that's really good.
Sorry, I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, love this album. Just very good from start to finish. And I think it might be the only double album they put out at the start of their career. Until obviously we get to the 90s, then a lot of their stuff was on double albums then. But this one, that was a very, very nice gift to receive there. Finally, question 20. Show an album released in 1973. So obviously these albums that were shown from 1973, turning 50 this year. Or depending on when you're seeing this, have already turned 50 this year. So, yeah. There's only really one album I could go with for this, honestly. Actually, no, there was a few. I was contemplating which one, going back and forth. But I ended up going with Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On album. My second favourite Marvin Gaye album. Absolutely love this album. Great stuff. Obviously the title track Let's Get It On is on here. Has the track Distant Lover on it. Has Come Get to This. If I Should Die Tonight. Just a very soulful album. I love Marvin Gaye's voice anyway, but just really, really good stuff here by him. Again, there was a few loads of albums I could have gone with, but I just picked to go with that one for a change. So yeah, there it is, the vinyl tag for 2023, done and dusted, finally out of the way. So yeah, that is everything for this video, guys. Thanks so much for tuning into the channel. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, help me out. Also, to help me out, subscribe if you're not already, and make sure the bell is switched on, that way you never miss an upload. And yeah, with all that said and done, I'll see you all again very soon.
Bye.
Bye.